After a long time on the road, pulling into the terminal is always something to look forward to. You exit the cab eagerly anticipating the hours of rest and relaxation ahead. All you have to do is post-trip your unit, unhook, wrap up the paperwork, and you're done. Then you see it. You look again to be sure. Yes, the unthinkable has happened. Your trailer has come unhooked, and odds are it's not just sitting on the side of the road in perfect condition. You feel a bit sick as you realize your day has just gotten a lot longer. Funny? Impossible? Think again. In the trucking industry, catastrophic accidents due to improper coupling procedures have skyrocketed along with the number of carriers using multiple trailer vehicles. That's why we have prepared this video. We want to make sure that you have the training you need to properly hook and unhook your equipment so that you never have to be the driver who realizes the unthinkable has happened. Let's see how it's done. Hooking the lead trailer to the tractor. After completing a thorough pre-trip inspection of your tractor, you are ready to hook up your trailer or trailers. The first step is to properly hook the tractor up to the lead trailer. Please note that this procedure should be used whether you will be pulling a single or double trailers. Before getting started, you should carefully inspect the fifth wheel. Make sure there is no damage or missing parts and that the mounting of the fifth wheel is secure. In inclement weather, check for ice under the fifth wheel. Ice buildup may prevent the fifth wheel from locking properly. Next, check for proper lubrication. A fifth wheel that is properly lubricated will be rust-free and covered with a coat of grease. After carefully checking lubrication and applying more if needed, make sure the fifth wheel is positioned for coupling. The jaws should be open and the ramps down with the safety release handle in the automatic lock position. Last but not least, make sure the fifth wheel's position will allow coupling so that the tractor doesn't hit the nose of the trailer or landing gear. The first step is to make sure the anti-nose dive leg on the trailer is raised and secured with the pin and locking mechanism properly connected. Also, before repositioning the tractor, verify that the heavier pup will be in the lead and that it does not have a liftgate. Then enter the cab using the 3-point stance and turn on your 4-way flashers. Before backing, make absolutely sure that the area is clear. No one should ever walk between the back of the tractor and the front of the trailer. After you have completed these quick safety checks while looking in the mirrors and, if possible, out the rear window, sound your horn and slowly back the tractor in position directly in front of and aligned with the lead trailer. Get as close as possible, stopping when the fifth wheel barely touches the trailer. Shifting into neutral, set the brake and shut off the engine. Then put the tractor's keys in your pocket and exit the cab for a visual inspection. After verifying the alignment of the tractor and trailer, next inspect the height of the trailer compared to that of the fifth wheel. If the trailer is too low, the tractor may hit it. If the trailer is too high, the trailer may ride up and over the fifth wheel. If the trailer height is not correct, simply adjust the landing gear up or down as needed. At the proper height, the nose of the trailer should contact the fifth wheel a few inches from the fifth wheel pivots or just about in the middle of the fifth wheel. Make sure the air valves at the rear of the trailer are fully closed. A fully closed air valve handle will run perpendicular or opposite the air line. Also, while you're there, check to make sure that the trailer doors are secure and, if applicable, sealed. It's now time to connect the air lines and electrical cord or pigtail. Before the connections are made, make sure there are no cracks in the connections or breaks in the lines. Also check to be sure that the rubber seals are in good condition on both the tractor and trailer glad hands. Once you have completed your inspection, connect the electrical cord and the glad hands, being careful not to mix up the emergency and service lines. Next, re-enter the cab. With the truck engine still off, push in the red trailer air supply valve to supply the trailer brakes with air. Be sure to listen for escaping air. If you hear a leak, or according to the air gauge, if within a minute's time there is a loss of more than 4 psi, find the leak and have the problem corrected by a shop or vendor. Now start the engine. Release the parking brakes and set the emergency brakes. Sound the horn and slowly back the tractor under the trailer until you hear and feel the fifth wheel latch onto the trailer kingpin. To avoid damage, make sure you do not hit the kingpin too hard. After the fifth wheel is latched onto the kingpin, put the tractor in a low forward gear and with the trailer brake handbrake on, pull forward slowly to test the coupling. As soon as you feel resistance, disengage the clutch. Once you're sure of a solid hookup, set all brakes, turn off the engine, and with the tractor key in your pocket, exit the cab for a visual inspection of the coupling. While using a flashlight, check to make sure the fifth wheel jaws fully surround the shank of the kingpin. If the jaws are around the head, the trailer will bounce the kingpin out of the jaws. Next, verify that the fifth wheel jaws are closed and locked, and that the upper fifth wheel plate is in full contact with the lower trailer plate. There should be no gap between the plates. Also, make sure you can see the head of the kingpin under the locking mechanism. Visually inspect the fifth wheel release handle to make sure that it's in a locked position. Also, on a Holland, check the locking nut to make sure that there is no gap between the nut and the fifth wheel. After visually inspecting the coupling, double-check the electrical cord and air lines. Make sure they are damage-free and that the lines will not contact any part of the unit. Once this is complete, fully raise the landing gear and secure the landing gear handle. The dolly. You are now ready to get the dolly. Before moving the dolly from its staging area, complete a thorough pre-trip inspection, being sure to pay close attention to the fifth wheel. Fifth wheel lubrication is especially important on a dolly because a dry fifth wheel may stick, causing off-tracking and control problems. Once the dolly is inspected, prep the rear trailer by raising the anti-nosedive leg. Make sure the pin and locking mechanism on the legs are secure. Again, remember that the heavier trailer should be your lead trailer, so be sure you know the weight of the rear trailer before hooking everything up. It's now time to position the dolly. After positioning, it should be directly in front of the rear trailer with a distance of approximately 6 inches to a foot from the dolly's fifth wheel to the rear trailer. As you move the dolly, always use proper lifting procedures. Lift with the legs, never the back. Be sure to note that there are different styles of dollies and that the method of moving them can differ. If you have any questions on proper moving procedures, be sure to see your supervisor. After you have moved the dolly into position, make sure that the rear trailer is at the proper height. The nose of the trailer should be in contact with the fifth wheel, a few inches from the fifth wheel pivots or in about the middle of the fifth wheel. If the trailer height is not correct, simply adjust the landing gear up or down as needed. Hooking up the second trailer. Before moving the tractor and lead trailer for hookup, make sure the lead trailer's pintle hook is open. Please note, we use several different types of pintle hooks, so the method of opening and closing them will vary. After you've unlatched the pintle hook, make sure the area is clear. Then, after sounding the horn, carefully position the tractor and first trailer within a few feet of the dolly and in a straight line with the second trailer. The driver must position the lead trailer in a direct alignment with the rear trailer so that the dolly can be backed directly into the kingpin. Because dollies have a short wheelbase, they can jackknife very quickly if not properly aligned. However, due to safety reasons, we prefer that you work alone when aligning the lead trailer because a person standing at the rear or between the units could be run over or trapped if there were a problem. To help in positioning the lead trailer, you may want to place a flashlight or a glove on the ground as a visual marker indicating the location of the dolly eye. When properly aligned, the rear trailer will be neatly split in the mirrors with the dolly barely seen. After you have correctly positioned the lead trailer, set your brake and put the tractor in neutral. Turn off the engine and place the tractor key in your pocket. Then exit the cab to double-check your positioning. The pintle hook on the rear of the first trailer will be close to and directly ahead of the eye on the dolly. Carefully pull forward using proper lifting procedures. Lift up and connect it to the pintle hook on the lead trailer. Secure the latch and be sure to keep your fingers clear of potential pinch points. Pintle hook latches also have a safety, so be sure to secure it as well. At this point, be sure to double check the pintle hook, making sure that the gap between the top and bottom of the latch is no more than 2 nickels in thickness. Next, with the safety chain latch pointing toward the rear of the lead trailer, connect the safety chains over the trailer's loop. Keep in mind, some dollies have 2 safety chains. In either case, hook them onto the loop of the lead trailer, making sure the safety latches are functioning properly and there are no kinks in the chains. After connecting the chains, attach the pigtail and airlines to the lead trailer and make sure the 5th wheel on the dolly is not locked. At this point, when applicable, raise the dolly leg, making sure it is securely stored. Also, double-check the rear trailer's height against the 5th wheel on the dolly and make sure the hookup to the lead trailer did not change the dolly's alignment with the rear trailer. If the dolly becomes misaligned, it could jackknife and miss the kingpin. Now it's time to re-enter the cab. After you start the engine, release the brake and sound the horn. Slowly back up until the dolly 5th wheel couples on the rear trailer kingpin. Next, shift to a lower forward gear and gently pull forward to make sure you have a good connection. Set the tractor parking brakes. Turn off the engine and with the tractor key in your pocket, exit the cab. Using the procedure outlined previously, be sure to visually inspect the 5th wheel connection. There should be no gap between the 5th wheel and the trailer kingpin plate, and the jaws of the 5th wheel should be closed, locked, and fully latched around the shank of the kingpin. After inspecting the 5th wheel's connection, connect the airlines and pigtail to the rear trailer. Next, walk to the back of the rear trailer, close the air valves, and make sure the trailer door or doors is properly secured and, if applicable, sealed. Then close the petcock on the dolly air reservoir and open the emergency and service valves on both the lead trailer and dolly. Remember, the handle on an open air valve will run parallel or along with the airlines. Re-enter the tractor, start the engine, and charge the air system. After that, set the tractor's parking brakes, release the service brake, and exit the cab. Check for air leaks and make sure all hoses and cables are secure on the dolly and that they are not dragging the ground. Also, checking the valves on the rear trailer to make sure there are no leaks. Then raise the landing gear, being sure to secure the handle. Close the emergency valve on the dolly and disconnect the emergency airline from the rear trailer. Re-enter the cab and pull the units forward to check the brakes on the rear trailer. With the brakes set, engine off, and ignition key in your pocket, you should now exit the cab, reattach the emergency airlines to the rear trailer, and reopen the emergency valve on the dolly. The vehicles are now connected. A careful inspection, both visual and physical, will do more than anything else to prevent a dropped trailer. So as far as your pre-trip inspection, double-check the dolly and both trailers to make sure everything is properly connected and that all air valves are set correctly. As a final precaution to ensure all the valves are properly set, enter the cab and release the red trailer brake. Exit the cab and open the emergency air valve on the rear trailer to observe the flow of air. If the flow of air is steady for at least 5 seconds, all the valves are properly set. If there is no airflow, or if the airflow decreases during the first 5 seconds, there is a problem and all the valves will need to be re-inspected. Once this step is successfully completed, close the emergency air valve. As a reminder, when leaving the yard, be careful to maintain the proper speed for your safety as well as the safety of those around you. Also remember that you should check your connections anytime you stop and exit the cab during your run. Disconnecting double trailers. Now let's review how to disconnect. Disconnecting double trailers begins with entering the designated trailer drop area. Before unhooking the rear trailer, rock the unit back a few inches to relieve stress in the fifth wheel and dolly connections. Next, set all brakes and exit the cab, remembering to use the 3-point stance. Lower the rear trailer landing gear just until the kingpin weight has been removed from the dolly. Close the air shutoff valves at the end of the first trailer and drain the dolly air reservoir. Next, close the air valves on the dolly and disconnect the air lines and electrical cables at the nose of the rear trailer. Then, disconnect the air lines and electrical cables between the dolly and the first trailer. Secure the dolly airline glad hands as well as all other hoses and cables so that they don't fall off or drag on the ground. Next, release the fifth wheel latch on the rear trailer. Then re-enter the cab and release the brakes. Slowly pull forward just until the fifth wheel drops, making sure the dolly frame is still in a position to support the trailer if necessary. Before pulling any further, look back to make sure the rear trailer is being fully supported by the landing gear. If the trailer starts to tip, reposition the dolly under the trailer and contact a supervisor or call breakdown for further assistance. Now continue pulling forward until the dolly is clear of the rear trailer. While the dolly is still hooked to the lead trailer, take it to the designated storage area. Once in position, set the brakes, turn off the engine, and with the ignition key in your pocket, exit the cab. When applicable, lower the dolly leg. Next, release the pintle hook safety latch and release the main latch until it is in a fully open position, remembering to keep fingers clear of potential pinch points. After you detach the safety chains from the rear of the first trailer, lift the dolly eye clear of the pintle hook using proper lifting procedure. At this point, make sure the glad hands are properly stored on the dolly. Failure to do so could contaminate the airline, causing serious brake damage. After properly storing the glad hands, re-enter the cab, start the engine, and release the brakes. Slowly pull forward until the first trailer is clear of the dolly. It's now time to move the first trailer to a designated drop area. Keep in mind, whether or not you are pulling doubles, the procedure for disconnecting the trailer from the tractor will be the same. As with the rear trailer, lower the landing gear just until the kingpin weight has been removed. Pull the release handle to unlatch the tractor fifth wheel. Disconnect the air and electrical lines at the nose of the trailer. Be sure to carefully store them in the hangers on the tractor. Re-enter the cab. Release the brake and pull forward slowly. Before completely clearing the trailer, look back to make sure that the trailer is not tipping and that it is being fully supported by the landing gear. Finally, slowly pull forward until the trailer is clear of the tractor. Although everything is now disconnected, before wrapping up and leaving the area, always remember to complete the necessary post-trip inspections and a driver vehicle inspection report on each piece of equipment that you have used. And after that, you're finished. Thank you for your attention as we have reviewed our procedures for hooking and unhooking multiple trailers. At ESTES, we're here to help. So, if you have any questions, feel free to ask a manager in your terminal or in our safety or fleet services departments. Remember, no question is too big or too small. Thank you for driving for ESTES Express Lines. Stay safe, and we'll see you back at the terminal.
Copyright 2011, ESTES Express Lines. All rights reserved. This video is for presentation only by ESTES Express Lines and its affiliates. Reproduction, modification, distribution, display, or other use by others is prohibited. Warning: this training video is intended as general instruction for employees of ESTES Express Lines and its affiliates. It is impossible in the scope of a video of this type to address all possible situations. The methods and procedures shown in this video may not be appropriate in all circumstances. Employees are expected to be sensitive to varying circumstances and unforeseen risks and to employ sound judgment. Employees should contact their immediate supervisors if they are uncertain how to proceed, if they suspect the methods suggested in this video may not be effective or appropriate in a given circumstance, or if they desire to employ other methods.